Hello and welcome to the Brenton podcast series. We've got a real treat for you this week. I'm delighted to be joined by Cornelius Tim. Cornelius, I've known for almost 20 years now. Our families have known each other for a long time. So it's a name that's very synonymous with the international corrugated packaging industry. Cornelius, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure being here in your podcast.
So, Cornelius, 2022 has been a pretty landmark year for you. I mean, there's like a shopping list that I could run down, starting with obviously the sale of Tim Packaging Systems that you sold to Tricor and Rengo back in May. Quickly followed off the back with commitments from your organization for massive investment levels. And then, of course, in July, you took over as CEO of the family-owned business. So it's been a busy couple of months for you. So let's start with the big news, the deal with Tricor. Give us some of the background and how you see that helping with the development of Tim Group.
Yeah. You're right. This year, all of this has really enrolled and has been published. Reality is we've been working on this for many years now. Such a change that we are seeing now, have seen and will see in the future is well planned as a family business does this. So I would actually start a little bit back. When we started developing the strategy, we looked at all the different parts of the business. How can we develop the industry? We are seeing a lot of changes in the markets. We're seeing changes with our customers, with our suppliers. And this really gave us the opportunity to also reposition ourselves, the family company. And this was actually done even before also my father died. So this was part also with my father. So this may be a topic because this really was the start when we were thinking about does the TPS business, the Tim Packaging Systems business, what is it about and where can we bring it? And this industry, as you probably know, is a very interesting industry in Germany and Europe. We have developed there a quite significant business in this industrial packaging, multi-material, very close to the automobile business, many sites across Europe, close to customer, very nice business. But as we had to learn the changes that we see, especially in the automobile industry, but also in global supply chains, had a stronger and stronger demand to become international, needing an international footprint, being on both sides of the supply chain. And this is something that would have needed more focus, more management focus, and more financial commitment as well.
And Cornelius, you mentioned your father there. Obviously, condolences for the loss of Klaus. But his relationship had been strong with Tricor and with Rengo for many, many years, hadn't it? Tell us a little bit about how that relationship began.
It's really with Tricor and with Martin Müller especially, we have a very long relationship, as we have had a common understanding of how technology works and also of what the future of packaging can be. And this brought us together in many discussions and many ideas. It never really developed in a kind of cooperation or collaboration, but we always thought that one day it could be the situation that we would join forces and bring these companies together. And also with Rengo, very long history. My father has been several times in Japan. We have had visitors from Japan here because Rengo is, even though the size, it has very strong long-term understanding of the market, and this brings them closer to the family companies, as I would say. So the exchange there on technologies, on the development of the markets has always been there. And so in hindsight, looking back, really, it's a unique situation, bringing in the end these 3 companies and therefore even 4 different brands, because I see Tricor there as an important global brand for heavy duty packaging in there as well. And this is our belief that in this environment, the TPS business can very well develop, can have the setup as it should have, and we're very closely looking of how the development is there, because we still feel connected to the people and to the company and to the customers there.
So obviously the transfer of that business unit gave you an opportunity at a sort of a corporate level, a very strategic level, that you made that commitment really to obviously invest heavily in new converting and corrugating equipment, and primarily putting the focus on consumer goods packaging and e-commerce. So tell us a little bit about what was the reason? Why is it that the focus now is just on those couple of sectors?
Yeah, this is really right, and this was the second part of the strategy. Where do we want to focus? Where do we want to develop? We had a strategy coming from the 90s that was more diversifying, and diversifying in various markets because of the changes of the markets of the customers, but also of purchasing behavior of customers. We see these markets getting closer and closer together, especially on the consumer goods packaging and e-commerce business. However, we also see good development in these areas, and we see ourselves extremely well set up with our customers to grow with them, to develop with them. As you know, we have a strong position in Germany, covering almost any corner of Germany, and then with our sites in Czech Republic, in Poland, and Romania, we are able to be a partner to our customers to serve them on a pan-European level with competence that is pan-European. And this gives us a good opportunity to grow in these 2 markets, in the consumer goods packaging, so the FMCG, the retail markets. There's a lot of drive, a lot of development there. We see also that these customers like our ideas, our vision of the market, so everything that is around sustainability, that is around digitalization, that is around people. They are really aware of this, and they like our visions there, and they want to develop this with us. And on the other side, we have the e-commerce business, which is giving us every day new challenges and new ideas, and how they can set up the business different and be more flexible and more short-term. And this is also very interesting, and we see good development with these markets. And so this was a decision then, because we wanted to refocus our business. It's a little bit going back to the core, I would argue, because this was where the company started, the growth, where it came from the 70s and 80s with pre-print. So print is a core of our business. And this gives us the opportunity to look forward. And as we communicated, yes, we want to invest, but there's a small other part. We want to grow. We want to double the business. So that's our focus. We want to grow with our customers, pan-European, and develop the business on this side. And this is very exciting, and we are very much looking forward to this. And we have now the focus and the strategic support to develop this business.
Well, it's fascinating you say that, because obviously in September, you celebrated the 50th anniversary of the new facility at the time back in Castrop-Rauxel. And obviously that was a landmark for your family business, because it was the first real expansion of the business. And it would be fascinating to know what your grandfather and your father would have thought about it today, because you then mentioned another word there, the digitalization of the supply chain, of the manufacturing process. And obviously, a lot of investment has gone into, I know you put in a new BGM large format case maker, you've put in a Barmuller gluer, you've been investing heavily in traditionally what would be seen as analog equipment. But Tim really has chased hard on digitalization of the business. And of course, that doesn't just mean digital printing, does it? It means the whole workflow, the whole infrastructure for the business. So tell us how your digitalization strategy is taking shape.
You're 100% right. So it's a little bit more than 5 years back that we've installed a digital preprint machine in Ilsenburg with the HP 1100, and this was a landmark for the development of our digital strategy. There are several other parts that follow this. So we have always had digital printing in the company, more on the display business and Werkstatt, many different types and single pass and multi-pass machines. But with this step, with the 1100 and supporting in the end our strategy, and our strategy is preprint. We are a preprint company. And so when the first time this machine came on the radar for the company, it was for us very clear that this could be for Tim the opportunity to really accelerate our digital strategy. With at the time, as all these digital strategies are, we didn't exactly know how it would look like. So I would argue the beginning was exactly as you said. We thought it's digital printing, and then we would become a more or less digital company, and everything comes by itself, and all this fancy stuff that is possible. And the beginning, the first 2 years, 2.5 years, were very, very difficult. We were not successful in developing the business as we thought, as digital business, digital print business out there, but we wanted to develop a digital business. So what does it really mean? You said the right word. It's the digital workflow. How much are we really able to change our business from an analog, individually communicated, people-focused business to a more standardized, interlinked, and autonomous process? And this is really the idea, and it took quite a while to understand that all the outside companies who are very successful with these workflows look at the corrugated industry, and I would say this is not only true for those guys, as for many, they look at the corrugated industry and say, oh, this is easy. We can do this very easily. And it is much more complicated, as you know, to run a box plant efficiently. You can run a box plant, that's easy, but you can lose a lot of money if you don't run it properly. And I think every company has in its history some examples where this is true. So we also had to move careful. Today, we have a workflow. We have an own developed workflow with strong partners on the side that we are able to run our digital print business with, but that also enabled us to have this interlink with the supply, with our customers and suppliers, to run our processes on this digital platform, the customer processes. And this is a strong driver for us. The customers really like it because they see a new value in it, and the value is not. I can put now Dan Bronton on the box. Okay, this we can also do, but this is not the relevant part. The relevant part is delivery time. It's minimum order quantity. It's a sustainable business at the same cost. We are a cost business. So in the end, what we have to deliver to our customers is our vision, or our strategy that we're following with our digital strategy is no lead time, no MOQ, in a sustainable way without additional cost. And this is where we're going. And this is very exciting how our customers experience that. When you all of a sudden had, including graphics and design changes, you talked about weeks and almost months. And today we talk about days. Yeah, just put it in and we print it next day. And then in 3 days and 5 days, depending on where it is and what kind of setup it is, you can have your boxes readily delivered, and not on a single product. We're volume business also. We're talking about truckloads of various designs, whatever you need as a customer.
Okay, so I don't want to get too deep politically here, but I've got to ask the question, okay, holistically. What's your view on the challenges faced by the Europe and international corrugated market? What do you see as the biggest challenges for 2023 and beyond? I mean, because obviously, you're in a situation here where I'm sure you're going to give us a little bit of an update on some of the next investments you're making. But I mean, lead time on equipment, for example, the sort of general stresses and strains around the supply chain. So what do you see as the big challenges for 2023 and beyond?
In the end, taking it in different perspectives. One is what is happening with our customer markets. So how are consumers acting? What is the development there? What is with our inflation? Will this be still the horrifying picture at the end of the tunnel, or is it something that we professionally manage? We are not used to in Europe. I mean, this is something that we can agree easily. We lived on a great island with no inflation and price stability, and this is different now. But as you are in international businesses, in most parts of the world, companies are very well able to manage this, and consumers are able to manage this. And I think this will stabilize, and this will stabilize also our markets, and demand will come back as it always is. It's a family business. We look long term. We're not looking on quarterly results. So we manage our business. Looking internal at us, if you look at the last 3-5 years, how many crises and changes in environmental settings, this will last. This will be the future. So also for the very traditional corrugated industry, we have to be more flexible. We have to live with this. It is not that we have a usage of our assets between 91 and 92%. That's not the future. The future is that we're able to react, that we're able to react faster. That's also why I believe the digital strategy is very important. We will be more transparent. The whole question around sustainability is very much interlinked with transparency. Are we transparent enough? Are we informing our customers enough about our footprint or about our setup, what we can do? So this is the steps that we have to take. And our suppliers, I fully agree with you, the challenges with delays in delivery, delays in starting time. I mean, you mentioned some of the installations that have been finished in the last month. This was not the original time plan. I can guarantee you. This was very much delayed, and this has an impact on our business. And we need support from our suppliers on our key topics. And our key topics is people, to find people to run equipment. We cannot have equipment where you need 3 or 4 people to run a machine. That cannot be. We need more digitalization. We need to have the data, the understanding, the quality measures, all of this. And last but not least, the sustainability. What impact can we have from our equipment on our supply chain, on the sustainability of our supply chain? Because we will be compared very, very soon to all the other alternatives. And to think that we are irreplaceable as a corrugated industry, this is totally wrong. This is totally wrong. And so we have to fight much harder as an industry to become more efficient, and our suppliers on equipment side, but from our perspective also on paper side, have to do much more than they do today.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's very interesting because you touched on a couple of points there. The big hot topic for most of us in the corrugated industry is very much about retention of skill sets. We found it very difficult to recruit new people. Invariably, we lost people during the COVID pandemic when they decided that it was easier to drive a DPD or a DHL truck than it was to run a die cutter. These are two massive areas that we've really been hit hard by since the pandemic. And of course, the other one was sustainability, because there's no doubt the sustainability seemed to drop off the top 3 wish list for customers. But do you feel now that that our industry has taken that to heart and that we're putting sustainability back on the top of the agenda?
Yes and no. Partially, I would say, because the energy crisis that we see across Europe obviously is driving a lot on this topic, because now there's some financial impact also. Everybody is looking how they generate their steam. Everybody is looking on how they run the equipment, how they run their conveyors. Are the trucks really loaded? Because it's also a financial topic. And our suppliers do the same thing, especially on the paper side. I expect more developments there, because this is really a big lever. But this also needs some time. We have to accept that. Are we driving the topic of how many people I need to run equipment? I think some of our competitors are much stronger than us as Tim Group on this point, and are collaborating stronger with the suppliers there. But the solution on this topic is not on individual equipment supplier. This is maybe the problem, because you can look at an equipment and you have many, many different specifications how the machine can look like. But in the end, we save the people if we look across a plant. So when I look at our new ideas of how we want to run and design new box plants, this is a very different setup. I think the idea of having individual people allocated to one machine, this is the past. The future will be you have a team, similarly as in a paper mill. I mean, we don't have to look too far away. On the paper mill, I'm pretty sure if you looked at a paper machine 60 or 80 years back, there was a lot of people running across the machine. And today, they're all sitting with a nice coffee in their control room, looking at, just read yesterday an article on how many screens and how many monitors and how many cameras they have. And in our factory, I see older man or woman carrying some tools around, bringing it to the next machine. Okay, we are not there yet. I think you get my point.
Well, Cornelius, it's been absolutely fantastic catching up with you. Thank you for sharing the time with us. And I'm sure the audience are fascinated to see the ongoing development of Tim. Obviously, you're a big chunk of change through your 400 million of investment plans for the next 5 years. So, Cornelius, thanks so much indeed for joining us. And yeah, we look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you, Dan. It was really a pleasure talking to you. And whenever there's the time and the next steps, I'm happy to give an update.